Hey folks, welcome to the stream. It's Monday night, I believe, and we are carrying on from earlier today. We did Steam integration earlier and a little bit of a look at instance meshes for a little bit of fun. And tonight, we actually finished off with doing some display settings as a point to finish off our menu so that we have absolutely everything working. And the only thing we had to do with that was the display menu, which I shall show you in a minute or two. So, let me know who's in the chat, say hello, don't be afraid, and we shall get on. So what we've done is we have added an apply display settings, which basically sets our screen resolution, our full screen mode, our sync enabled. We apply our resolution settings, then we apply the save, and that should work. But we have one problem, and that is going to be that we need to put a widget in between, which counts down to basically give the player a chance to cancel and not save. Okay? So, with that in mind, let's have a look at what we have so far. I'm going to cancel that for now, and I'm going to make sure that we are set to selected viewport. We're going to go to options, we're going to go to display, and if we now select, let's say 1920 by 1080 and apply, it ain't going to do anything. Now, why is that? Well, the reason for that is because I don't think we've actually done it on the apply, which is this one here. Okay, so we've got to drag this in and basically apply these settings. Okay, save this, and now when we do this, I'm going to do a save all because this could all go horribly wrong. We can press play, options. Now what we want to do here is look at all of our things, and that's absolutely fine. Our visuals, we can change these, we have tested these before. Our audio as well is all working. The only one that we need to now check is this. So we're going to set it to 1920 by 1080 and hit apply. Now I don't think that's going to work because what we actually need to do here is not be in this mode, right? If we look at this, it's going to do it all, but because we are in the editor, it ain't going to do it. And there are certain ones as well. Okay, so we're going to open it in standalone and then we shall basically test it. Okay, so you'll notice our Steam thing's coming up, which is nice to see. We can go to options, hit display, right, and you'll notice the resolution says 1280 by 1070. We can do that and then hit apply, and you'll notice now that we go to windowed full screen and we are now at 1920 by 1080. Now if we go to like full supersonic mode, right, we can apply, but it won't do it because basically you need to restart. Now what we could do is do that, and we should really try never to do that again, right, because that basically destroys my desktop setup. Right, and this is why we need it to change, because you'll notice now that this has went absolutely bananas. And everything's went completely wonky, right? And you'll notice that this is basically completely went crazy. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go back to here and we're going to basically try and get out of this. Right, because even now the thing is going ballistic. Okay, so this is why you need something in between that's going to basically do it properly, right? Because if you don't, then you can leave the player in an impossible position. Okay? But one of the main things here is, and I don't quite understand at this point, is if I press play, I don't know what I'm going to get, basically, as far as resolution and stuff. You see, it takes me back to here, which is fine. Right? And if I go to options here, right, this says 1280 by 1070. Okay, now where it picks that up from, I have no idea, but we're going to go at 1920 1080 again, right, and we'll just say full screen, right. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to break this and find out what values we're getting back when we hit the button. Okay. And apparently it ain't going to break. We do have full screen, right? It's not quite right, I know that. And if we set it to windowed, that's looking good. Right? If we set it to maximized, that's basically doing nothing. And I don't know if that does anything. So the only two that seem to be doing anything at the moment, well, that we can tell, is basically these two here, right? Now, if we were to set it to that, right, for some reason, it's setting this to maximized where it shouldn't be. Right? And if we set this to windowed full screen, that does nothing as well. So it appears, yeah, see the full screen does something, which is okay. Now if we set it to HD, or sorry, 4K, right, we get that, but you'll notice that our buttons are out of sync. Okay. There's something weird going on when we do that. Now, we did our audio. And you'll notice that actually and if we hit that, it goes completely bonkers. Okay, so that's not good. So we need to get out of there, close that down again, and as I said, this is throwing my desktop off to La La Land. Now, my worry, or not worry, but the problem here might be that it's because I'm using like two different monitors, so it doesn't know which one is the correct one to use for what screen. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that, right? But in the meantime, what we really need to do here is do the in-between widget, right? The basically saving settings or don't save the settings. Okay, so we do have that particular or we should at least have that widget. Right, so I'm looking on the other project at the moment for this code. And it's actually a canvas panel. It's not even it isn't even a widget. right? But what I think we'll do in our case is we will actually make it a widget, right? So what we'll do is we'll add user interface and we'll say widget display settings apply. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here, it's here, and it's a canvas panel. So we're going to copy it, then we're going to open our display settings. Now this is going to look a bit weird to start with, right? We're going to delete that, and then we're going to paste it. Okay, and then we're going to allow you to see it, and then what we're going to do is we're probably going to get rid of that, right? And we're going to change the font on that and that and that. Anything basically with a text, we are going to change the font. Missing string table entry. Cool. Right. That is actually cancel. Okay. You can see our number there. And then gradually what we'll do is okay that, and we've got this box. It's actually this image here. Problem with this image is it's actually an image, right? But what it is actually just like a border, right? So we shall get our clean flat icons, and a button, and we'll get a button corner like this, and we'll go for this, right? Except this should not be we'll do it as red to keep it in tune with the rest of it. And the problem here is we need to wrap this with another canvas panel, and then this canvas panel we're going to center it, then we're going to 0.5, 0.5, then we're going to set these to 0 to begin with, that's not looking too good so far. But what we'll do is we'll set it to 400 by 300. Okay, except that's not really big enough. So we'll say 600 by 450. And then we begin to get the sort of setting we're after. But we need basically to change this to red. Okay, and basically what we're going to have to do is I think we need to wrap this in a border. That's still not going to work. Yeah, we'll just wrap the whole thing in a border. Right, so if we wrap this in a border, we can then make it black so that it's going to cover anything. Right, so we basically change the tint on this to be black. Okay, that. Right. So we could actually do with this being white. So we'll make that white. And then these colours here, I'm going for the text on there, and I'm going for the text on there. Right, now where's our colour? Because those do not look like white to me. Unless it's actually the button, which it doesn't look like to me. No, here it's here. So that's 1, 1, 1. And then similarly on this one, 1 and 1. Sorry if anybody's talking to me. I am checking the right. So fundamentally we need to find out what these buttons do in our, basically what it does is that you apply settings but you don't save them, and then you basically revert back to where you were, right? So that's what we're going to do here, but we're going to do it through the save and cancel, right? So basically this save button is going to do what we just did a second ago, right, which was the apply and save settings, and the cancel is obviously going to revert us back to where we were, right? But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to need the parent widget so that we can call it back. Now we could do this with an interface if we wanted, but we'll just go to w underscore options, and that'll be fine. And we're going to instance editable and expose it on spawn. So basically when we create this, we're going to pass in the value, so in here we're not going to do this, right? But we are going to have a custom event, right? But this is what this is going to do is this is going to create a widget, right? And it's going to be display settings apply. We're going to get a reference to self, and we're going to pass that in, right? So then it can basically call this options menu back and tell it to apply the settings, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a custom event, and we're going to say save setting, no, save display settings, right? Then once we've done this part, we add to viewport, right? So at this point we can test it out to see where we are. We'll say do a save all first, right? And now you will see, well, it's going to do it in standalone again. Right, so if we go to options, then to display, and we say apply, we get our thing there. Okay, and we don't want to click that, not that it's going to do anything, but that's fine. We're going to go back to our selected viewport, we're going to exit the game, then we'll set it to selected viewport, and we'll stop that, make sure it's okay. Right, so this is now doing that, right? And if we now go into here and go into the designer, need to do a check on how you get rid of that, right? Then we basically hit the save button, right? We'll go back to designer, and we'll do the same with this button, which is the cancel button. So we have apply settings and keep settings. Yeah, it's pretty reasonable, I'd say. Right, so from there we can pull in our parent widget, then we can say apply display settings. Now that isn't the only thing we're going to do, right, because we're obviously going to close down this widget, right? So what we'll do is remove from parent, And we'll just stick it on the end here because both of these are going to do this, right? But what we want to do is we want to know what these buttons do on the other program, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to open this up. And that's not it. Right, so our first one, I'm having a look here. I'm on the other screen. Bear with me a second. And all it does is apply the settings. Right? Now, the other one is probably the more interesting one. This is the display cancel. And funnily enough, it does nothing. Well, actually, that isn't funnily enough. No, that's actually the wrong thing. Right. We basically have two different things here, right, that are going on. We have a timer that's going to count down, right? And basically, we've got TXT timer. And I don't know where TXT timer 1 is. Oh, it's on save settings for some reason. Right, so the first thing we want working is this timer going down, right? So, in here, we go to event construct, so we do need an event construct, right? And we now need a custom event, and that's count down. And we are going to need a variable, and it's going to be timer value, and we're going to say it's an integer, and then we are going to do timer by function name and we are going to say count down, and it's going to get once per second and looping, right? And then the countdown timer is basically going to do timer value get, then it's going to decrement, and I accidentally double clicked on the decrement, but not to worry. And then we check that it's greater than 0, then we branch off of that. Let me turn back to the comments to see if anybody's... Nope, nobody's saying anything. If you're enjoying the stream, guys, by the way, I'm not very far away from 500 subscribers, so I would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. And the like button helps as well, apparently. Right, so we're going to timer value, so it's basically, if we go to this is txt timer. So we basically get this, then set text. So if it's true, we do one thing, and if it hits 0 on the timer, then we basically cancel out, I would reckon. Okay. If it's false, we timer by, we clear timer by function name, and that timer, as we know, is called countdown. And what we'll do here is we'll get the parent widget and we shall apply display settings. Right, and then we'll remove ourselves from parent. Okay, so we shall save that. And actually, for testing purposes, we won't do the apply settings thing. Right, so what I'll do is I'll just move this down a little bit. So basically when the countdown timer ends, that we shall just basically remove that widget from the screen, and that will show us that it's working. Okay, so if we go to options, display, apply, interesting. Okay, one per second. Well, yeah, obviously we have to set this to a value. Right, well that was an obvious error. So we'll save all and try that again, shall we? Now the other thing I'm going to have to do is, you'll notice that there's no back button, so I'm going to have to put a back button in somewhere for this. And that's interesting. Right, so we should wait for 15 seconds, and if it does get to 0, then yeah, it disappeared. I know what the problem is. I've made a goof again. It's a simple goof. I haven't actually put the value in, so we need to plug it in here basically. Okay. So we'll just bring that to there so we can see it a bit better. And now if we go to options, display, apply, it counts down. There we go. Okay, so that's working well so far. And now all we need to do is implement the actual stuff that we want to do. And in this case, we do this. Okay. But if we hit okay, so in this case we don't do this. Okay, or in fact yes we do. It is if we don't hit this button we do something else, right? Basically what's going to happen here is if we hit this button we apply the settings and then save them. Okay, if we hit the cancel button we return back to previous settings. Okay, so I'm going to copy a bit of code here and let you see what I mean by this, right? Because there's a bit of code here that basically does exactly what we're doing here, right? So, well, actually we do this, copy that, and I'm going to paste it here, right? So I'm going to explain to you which one is which. Okay. This keep settings give me 1 second just to make this visible. Right. So we have two different things here. Keep settings we don't actually have, right? Now we do have an apply, but we don't have the other one. And we definitely do apply the settings. Okay, so in our options, we definitely apply the display settings. Okay, but the two other things which are the apply settings or apply these certain other buttons. Just give me 1 second to find these. Right, so button apply. Yeah. So if we go back to here, this here goes in the bottom, right, and this one goes on the top. Okay, and we have to basically find out which one. We can basically delete this. Right, let's hang on a second here. Close all panels, resets timer and sets a panel. So basically this can all go. Right? And we delete that, and this goes in here. Then we find out what this is. And that's actually fine. What we'll do is we'll do this in the options, right? So we'll create a function called set display to user settings. Oh, we've already got it. Right, so we delete that. And we basically get our parent widget. Okay, we don't do that. We get this. And then we say set display to user settings. Okay. And that should be us. Okay. And let's say we clear the timer. Right, so we can delete this, right? We can put that to there, and if we're super clever about this, we can plug this right in there, and that's us. Okay, so one of the buttons should revert us back, one of the buttons should save it. Okay, now the point is here that we probably, there is one little thing that I'm concerned about here, and that is the fact that we're saving the settings here. Right, whereas if we look at the options here, right, and we apply the display settings, we're saving the settings as well, which means that, see, I don't think that this should be here. I think we should only apply the settings, and then once you hit the OK button to save it, you then save them. You apply the resolution and then save it. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. So if you're enjoying the stream, guys, hit like and subscribe. It'd help a lot. I'm really close to 500 subscribers, so if you could push me over the edge, that would be fantastic. I'm going to go and grab myself a little drink and a cigarette. I shall be back in 2 minutes. So take this time to check out the description for Discord links. You're welcome to join, and ways to support the channel. And you can get your name in the credits of the game or whatever. You can check out the tiers, and you can also check out my game on Steam, which is called FTD2, and it's a tower defense game. So I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. Okay guys, we're back. So let's have a little look at this. All the window sizes of my on the computer are currently all over the place because of that earlier little fight. Now the one thing I'm going to do here is I'm not going to save the settings, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply settings. You see, that's not what I want to do. Right, we're not going to do that. Because apply settings shouldn't save the settings. Why does save settings? Apply. Right. So it appears to me that you can't actually cancel out of this. Right? You either apply them or you don't. There's no going back. The only way I'd be able to do it is to save. We might still do this, right? But the only way we can do this really is to save the old settings, right? And then apply them back on a cancel, right? So that's what I'm thinking here. That when we initially load these in, we get these and put them into variables, right? We put these into variables on our options, and then if they cancel, we basically come back and reset all them back to what they were, and hopefully that would actually solve the issue. Now I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work, right? But anyway, so I think this is kind of futile, right? So if we actually change any of these, it's going to basically save everything. Right, so we've set it to 1920 by 1080. Okay. Now, when we go back in, it should be right. Now, this is an issue, but some of this is because we're in the editor. So I'm going to have to run this in standalone again. Because here's the question. Do you automatically set it to the resolution that your machine is currently in, right? Or do you set the game to a different resolution? Right? So you'll notice now it's in 1280 by 720. So what it's doing here is it's picking up right, so if we save that, right, and then come out the game, then the question is it going to do the same thing again? And this is where you get into a bit of a conflict about how you do this. Right? You'll notice this resets to here, right? But the question now is not, this is in like a project settings thing. right? If you look at project settings, it's going to start the game up in different, can't remember which setting exactly is in here. Is it in general settings, I believe? Probably not then. But there is like a it's not slate settings. I can't remember which one it is. Question is it in here under one of the... No, it's definitely not in there. Asset manager, asset tools. Which one is it? Is it? No. And that's the one I just looked at, wasn't it? Default classes. I'm looking for one that opens up, because there's one that gives you like how you want to open the project, and I can't remember where it is, and it might actually not even be in there. It might be in here somewhere. Yep, it's in here. You'll notice how it says 1280 by 720. Right, so if I set that to 1920 by 1080, right, we can, if we press play now, you'll notice this is much bigger now, right? And if we go to options, you'll notice that it tells us which one we're actually on at the moment. Now, it seems to me that this is kind of wrong, right? That when we start up, we should not be using, we should be picking this up from our, not the current resolution. Now, I'm not even too sure if this actually happens when you package the game up, right? Because obviously it's not going to use the level editor version. Right, now that would be an interesting thing. Right, let's just do something here. Let's save all. Right, but what we'll do here is we'll go into these advanced settings again. Right, and we'll change it to 2560 by 1440. Okay, but what we're going to do this time is we're going to actually run it from the project file. right? And you'll notice it immediately goes full screen. And what I want to find out is if we're actually at full screen and what resolution we're at. See, we're only at 1920 by 1080. Right? Now, that kind of makes sense. And we can save that. Right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out the game and I'm going to run it again. And now we're going to find out where it's getting its current setting from and what it's actually set to. Now that looks lower resolution to me, and it is. So whatever resolution that is using at the moment is not what we're telling it to use, right? So it's not picking up the resolution or at least it's not setting this resolution. Right, it's difficult to tell what resolution this actually is. Right, let's see what we can actually do about returning resolution here. Okay, so while we're in our menu, we're going to need our menu controller for this. So I'm going to minimize that down, that's for kickoff. And then we go to main, and then we go to here. Right, what we'll do is we'll do our keys. Right, and we'll do L for no apparent reason. Right, and we'll see what we can get. So we've got our settings, and there are other ones, right? So now the question is, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to get user settings, right? Get game user settings. And out of here, we want to get the resolution that is saved. Right? So we've got it here. So this is get default, get screen, So I'm going to say get default. Right? And this is going to give us an X and a Y. Right? And we can just say print string. And then we say append. And that's the wrong append. Right, we're appending the string. So we're going to add a pin. Then we're going to do by and then we're going to go X and Y. Now we may need to do this with a couple to find out which one it is we actually want to find out, right? But also there is a way of finding out because it is in one of the saved files, right, for the game settings. And we can kind of find out for there. There's quite a few of them. There's like lots of clean loaded and all sorts of stuff, but in the meantime, right, so what we want to do is, if we start this in standalone, I want to see what value we get back on this. And it says 0 by 0. Right, so that's not it. Right? And this is might be it here. Because you can get the desktop, you can get recommended, you can get the actual screen resolution, and you can get the confirmed resolution. Right, now, if this did save, this should definitely not say 0 by 0. Right? And I'll show you where you can actually see these values and where they're getting picked up from, right? So there we go, 26 14 40, right? 26 14 40. So next thing we do is, if we hit display, we can change this to 1920 by 1080, apply, save it. And now, in theory, this should now say 1920 by 1080. But it doesn't. Right? Now, here's the interesting thing. I think that what's going to happen here is, if I stop it and restart it, it might pick up the 1920 by 1080, or at least that's what I think it's going to do, but it doesn't. Right? So whatever it's doing, the next time I did that and set that to 1920 by 1080, and apply it and then save it, it ain't actually saving it. Now, it did save it the first time, right? And this is where we're going to have a look. I'm going to do it one more time now, right? Right, we're still getting 2560, right? But, and here is the kicker. I'll bet you that 1920 by 1080 is actually saved somewhere. Right? Now, if we look in here and then go to our config files and then default game and then open with Notepad, right, that's not the right thing. If we look at Notepad on this one and we check it again, there is one of these files that basically tell you what the last saved file was. And it's not that one. And it's not that one. I did check game, didn't I? Yeah, I would have thought so. Right. Now, there's definitely somewhere that these files are. Right. So it could be in here, config. Now, it's not that one. Game user settings. Right, you would think that it's this one. Right, here we go. Right, so here are our game user settings, right? So we have last user confirmed resolution size and the resolution size, right? Now, we are looking somewhere for our 1920 by 1080, right, to see if that was actually set, right? But you can see that it never was, right? Now, the interesting thing is, let's open another one of these, right? And let's open this one. Right? So there's a screen resolution and there's a last confirmed sort of clean one, right? Now, if we set this to, what was it, 1280 by 720, apply that, save it, okay, and then we basically jump out of here Now, the interesting thing is going to be what these game user settings say. You'll notice the last confirmed user resolution was this, but the resolution size X and size Y say that. Right? So what we actually want to do is get these two. Right? And I don't know when the last user confirmed, what sets the last user confirmed resolution size. Right? So once again, we'll test that out, right? Let's test that out once again. So what we'll do is we'll run this. And what was really strange was you'll notice that every time we run this, it won't accept 1920 by 1080 for some reason. Right, but we'll check it again. We'll see what happens. So if we go to options, go to here, and you'll notice that our resolution here is set to the wrong thing. Right, we'll go 1920 by 1080, apply, save, and it doesn't seem to do it. Right, we'll close it. Now, here might be the point. The point that it doesn't look like it's doing it is because it's already there and we're not actually setting the correct resolution when we come in to the project, right? So I don't know, to be honest, I have no idea what we're going to see here. I'm hoping for 1920 by 1080, but I have no idea. And there we go, 1920 by 1080, 1920 by 1080. Okay. So basically what I'm saying is, when we come in, we need to set the resolution to this. Right? And we need to set our drop down to say this, because obviously it's not. Okay, so we want resolution size X, resolution size Y. Right? So this was the last confirmed, we know that. Right, but that's not the actual one we want. We want resolution size. And these are all the sets. And The question is, what is this number here? Which one is it, you know? It says resolution size. Right, but it doesn't seem to be it. So let's do something interesting. We know it's 1920 by 1080, okay? So that's a bit of a kind of normal number. So what we'll do is we'll set it to something ridiculous, right? And then we'll know when it's given us the right number back, okay? So we shall do that, and we're not going to set it to anything like a regular, like the 1280 by 720 or the whatever. We're going to set it to something that's truly unique, right? That we know exactly when we get the right one what that value is. So let's pick one. Right, how about 1024 by 768? Right, now, to me, that actually hasn't done it. Right? That looks to me like it hasn't set that resolution. But we'll check. And it has. Right? So we've got the resolution. Okay. So now we need to bring back 1024 by 768. That is our goal. When we hit a button, we want to bring that back. Right, now it should still bring back that value even if we run it in the editor. Right? So if we hit our button called L, right, we're still getting our incorrect number. Okay? So basically we want to find out what number we need to get from our game settings resolution, right? So let's get the resolution scale, and it's obviously not that, right? Res right, so we'll get the default resolution again, right? We'll try this one. We'll see what that brings us back. We'll save that. Press play. Hit the button. Nothing by nothing. Okay. So it's not that one. So we'll say get desktop. And that's the wrong one. Okay. Resolution. we'll say get screen resolution. That's the wrong one. Right, so this isn't going too well. And that's all we've got. So we tried get default, we tried this one, we tried desktop, this isn't right, recommended, we tried get screen, right? And none of them bring back that game setting. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say X. And you'll notice there's nothing there. Size. Did I spell that wrong? I believe I did. There's no size. So the question is, we know this, we know last user confirmed resolution size, right? Now what does the other one say as far as this is concerned? Right, confirmed, get last confirmed screen resolution. Okay, get last confirmed screen resolution, and in our settings, last user confirmed resolution. Then it's got size X, size Y. Let's have a, damn it. Let's have a look at that. Hi Carlos Allen, how you doing, bud? Get last confirmed screen resolution. So it's last, and this is last user confirmed resolution. Right, not this one. And it's not got a size, so this is just basically resolution. Right? Okay, I believe I'm going to have to do a bit of digging on Google about this one. Because this makes no sense. And that's a scale, So that's no good to us. Unless... Right, hang on a second a minute. Hang on here, hang on. Right, when we actually... we set the screen resolution. We apply the resolution settings. I'm wondering, can we do set last... Right, wait a minute. Set last confirmed. No, we can only set it. Right. Okay. Can we confirm nope, we can't confirm anything either. Okay, I'm going to call it a night here, guys. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And I'm getting a bit upset with this because I don't know why we can't bring back our settings properly. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to just get resolution X and resolution Y, right? Now, it'll happily return these, but it won't set them, right? I'm just going to need to do a little bit of digging on this one and then we'll fix it up. And I shall probably let you know. See, it's got a desired screen width and the desired screen height. But those aren't the things either because, you know, we set it to this weird 1024. This is the one we wanted it to save and use. Right? But we can't seem to bring this back. Right? We can set it, but we can't bring it back. Which is really annoying me. Right? So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to call it a night there. As I said, if you enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. I'm very close to 500 subs, so it'd be great to get there by this week. Or the end of this week anyway. Or sometime this week. Check the description for the link to a Discord. I'm usually there in between streams and before and after. And how you can support the channel through Patreon from as little as $2 or getting your name in the game for $5 and goes up from there. And also my game on Steam. So once again, thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you tomorrow at 2 PM Central. Bye bye for now.